the canal here, and I was trying to work out the tram tracks and where I was meant to cross. I was just venting here about how crazy it is and how much worse it is than Amsterdam. I made it to St. Stephen's Cathedral, which honestly, just have a look, was the most amazing cathedral I've ever seen. To be fair, I don't think I've been to that many, but like, just honestly so beautiful. Look at all of these candles glimmering, just crazy. Like, it was just such a cool mix of gothic and angelic. Like, I've never seen quite a thing. The architecture in here was insane, and these are all like little altars of saints. Here I think the priests were like chanting and singing. Don't know if you can hear it, but the architecture in this cathedral was insane. I literally had to lock in and put my glasses on so I could look at it properly, because I was like, I just know this looks so good in HD. These were like massive orchestra, like pipes as well, which I just thought was so cool. Honestly, just such a beautiful cathedral. I highly recommend going. And look at this holy water dispenser. Listen to the sounds of these horses trotting. How beautiful. Then I went to this free castle that was basically known for this really cool angelic artwork on the ceiling, and I spent a little bit of time there just kind of sitting on the ground by myself and just looking at it and taking it all in, because it kind of is the epitome of like Vienna. It's very like Viennese imagery, and I made it just in time for the clock to chime, which I found so cool. Then I went to this free exhibition of flowers, which I was unpleasantly surprised to find had no flowers and only trees. So here's me very confused looking around. I then went to this very cool Viennese cafe, and I got some Viennese traditional cake and coffee, and it was just such a cool place to be sitting. I got some Lindors as souvenirs as well, and then I was gonna get some schnitzel from this famous place, but it was so packed out, so I made my way to this less high-key place, and it was just as good. I managed to find a chicken one. Here's the canal at night time. Beautiful. The next day I was up at 6 a.m. for my 14-hour day trip to the mountains, and it was so worth it. Here is Salzburg, and Salzburg is where The Sound of Music was filmed. Actually, where I just showed was exactly where it was filmed, and it's also where Mozart grew up and was born. So there's a lot of history there. Salzburg also used to be, I think, its own country, in the same way that the Vatican is its own country. It was just such a cool little town. There was a lot of really cool things. There was like loads of stories, and I think the oldest restaurant in Europe was there as well. This is a really beautiful graveyard, and it was honestly my favourite thing that I saw in Salzburg. This is a really funny story of this guy that built a very teeny weeny house for a cafe owner's daughter. It was just, yeah, very funny. That's a train you can get up to the fort of the castle, which is quite cool. And here is this beautiful cafe I found. I got this like chocolate almond croissant thing. Look at the little traffic lights, it's so romantic. Then I made my way with the door to Hallstatt, which is where Arendelle from Frozen is based. Look at that breathtaking view. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I'm just so grateful I had the opportunity to do this. Like, I'm so blessed, and the fact that I had the confidence and willpower to go by myself and do it, I'm really proud of myself, and this cheese dumpling soup, which was just delicious. Like, the dumpling itself had a really, really nice cheesy flavour, and then the soup was quite refreshing, very like carroty, and like I'm not quite sure what the other flavour was. Quite a unique soup, not tried anything like that, but it was still good and it kept me warm as the mountains were really cold. This is a Salzburg Stiegel, the best beer I've had in ages, and you can really tell in this little town why Arundel was based there. This was a Viennese cheesecake, and if you like Basque cheesecake, you would love this. This was just so delectable. Honestly. Just look at this cute little town. Then, unfortunately, I had to make my way back to the van as we were going to make our way back to Vienna. It was quite a long journey, but was definitely worth it. Definitely worth the time, definitely worth the money. I was really sad. I think I was listening to Frozen. Then the next day I went to a supermarket and I went to this second-hand shop, and I thought this top looked really cute whilst it was off me, and then I tried it on and I was like, definitely not. Then I made my way to the History Museum in Vienna, and this is a really cool piece of artwork that unfortunately was not in English, so I couldn't understand what it exactly was, but I went to the famous cafe in the museum and I got some traditional pancakes with this kind of like plum garnish, and I got some traditional Viennese coffee as well. I actually really like Viennese coffee. I know there's like mixed reviews about it, but look how beautiful it is. You really do go there for the experience. Like, it's probably slightly more expensive than other places, but honestly not even that much, and it's just so worth it just to get the full Viennese experience. Like, this has got to be the most breathtaking cafes in the whole of the city. And these were some really, really cool Christian paintings, and as a Christian I found it really fascinating to see the Viennese approach to Christianity. Obviously it's very Aryan, which is not really very accurate, but this was awesome. This was like about Satan and demons being lashed down to hell. That was Cleopatra's suicide, and yeah, just really interesting spin on Christianity and just the stories of the Bible. They had so many different like countries, and like they had like an Italian section, they had this section which is like ancient Egypt, and honestly like I know lots of museums have ancient Egypt, but like this was just a really cool extensive section of the museum that I was really impressed by. They even had this kind of like taster into what it would be like in Egypt if you were inside a kind of like tombish place. Then I got my first tram in Vienna and I was listening to Vienna by Billy Idol on my way to the Sigmund Freud Museum. Guys, as a psychology student, I was absolutely fangirling. I don't think you understand how surreal it felt to be in the Freud's home. He lived there for over 40 years and he practiced psychoanalysis there. There were just so many cool antiques and information. Every single wall was just filled with information. This is a really cool like exclusive film of his daughter recording over his birthday party, and everything's kind of like got pictures of what it would look like back in the day, and they've tried to keep small parts of the room the same, like samples on the walls and stuff like this is his waiting room, his treatment waiting room, which was just like, honestly, it felt so surreal, and all the information about him. Oh. Anyways, I got some snacks for the way back home, and also a souvenir